In December of 2019, a new virus emerged in the city of Wuhan, China.
Health authorities have activated their most serious response level
after an outbreak of a new type of viral pneumonia
in central China.
At that time, nobody expected that the outbreak was going to be global. We did not know what to expect because, frankly, outbreaks happen all over the world. It's a common problem in South Africa where epidemics do happen. And the same type of virus in 2020 happened back in 2002 called SARS. Since then, the vast spread of the virus in just 3 months to 191 countries has been declared as a global pandemic.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Cities all over the world are in lockdown. People are prohibited to go outside except for urgent matters. Provinces in Indonesia had implemented large-scale social restrictions or PSBB, including in the capital city of Jakarta.
DKI Jakarta akan melaksanakan PSBB sebagaimana digariskan oleh keputusan Menteri efektif mulai hari Jumat tanggal 10 April 2020.
Therefore, on March 17th, the Minister of Education and Culture, Nadiem Makarim, issued to close down schools. We remember that moment of curiosity, of confusion on what to do, how to resume our school learning activities. So that is when we get to know distance learning. The urgency and unreadiness becomes a factor of misconception of how schools can resume their learning activities at home. We are experiencing a time in the school system that has never occurred in this such small amount of time. Therefore, the Ministry of Education and Culture took actions to modify its curriculum. Normally, it took years to develop a new curriculum, but in this urgent matter, just in months, even weeks. The ministry has given schools a flexibility in their curriculum, providing them a broad choice of how they can keep their day-to-day learning activities. So, distance learning, according to the Ministry of Education and Culture, is an association of 4 terms: learning at a distance itself, distance education, online education, and e-learning. Learning at a distance is the activity itself, students and teachers in separate geographical locations with virtual classes, which what we are doing right now. Distance education is defined as institution-based, formal education where the learning group is separated and where interactive telecommunication systems are used to connect learners, resources, and instructors. E-learning is a learning system based on formalized teaching, but with the help of electronic resources. This can be based in or out of the classroom. The use of computers and the internet forms the major component of e-learning. This is quite different with online education, which includes a broader range of services than e-learning. So in other words, e-learning institutions mainly emphasize course content, while online education institutions also stress student support. So online education refers that learners using the internet to get access to learning resources, to interact with the content, teacher and other students, and to get support during their learning, so that they can obtain knowledge for construction of understanding and personal growth. After being held for several months, distance learning received many comments from various parties. Even the Minister Nadiem realized limitations of access different schools have in this country of archipelago. He even understands the mental health issues students are trying to cope within these difficult times.
What's happening right now in Indonesia and in other countries is not just a loss of learning. The level of stress that actually being confined, stress, loneliness, tension with parents. I mean, any parent knows this right now.
Despite the criticism, students felt that distance learning might have been beneficial for their academic performance. Therefore, this research was made to determine whether distance learning affects students' academic achievements. Our subject of research are students of 12th graders, Canisius High School, Jakarta, who has experienced distance learning for about 11 months now. Students' academic performance, which is the main focus of this research, is measured by students that has received academic appreciation, which is an appreciation every semester for high-performing students.
So our research is classified as a descriptive research with a quantitative approach. So our initial hypothesis is that distance learning would increase students' academic performance. Therefore, their academic achievement level would also increase. So in this study, we used various books and journals as our secondary sources, and data concerning academic appreciation in the 3rd and the 5th semesters, and answers from our questionnaire that we gave to 64 people as our primary sources. The amount of population in our research was 167 students, which is the number of students from class of 21 who received academic appreciation in either the 3rd, the 5th, or both semesters. And out of the 167 students, 64 of which became our sample using purposive sampling and semi-cluster sampling. So students' academic performance is also affected by cultural capital. What is cultural capital, you might ask? So according to Bourdieu, cultural capital is non-economic resources that can be spent to give some families advantages over others, to argue that parents are definitely positioned to invest in their children. So another expert in this subject, Willis, also demonstrate how lack of cultural capital sends working class children to educational failure, and he also explained why working class kids eventually get working class jobs. And other factors that affect cultural capital in the education world are learning facilities and electronic devices, which are very important and vital in distance learning.
Next, I will talk about the result and discussion about our questionnaire. Now, I will talk about the graph about the student break time in the 3rd and 5th semester. From the graph, it can be seen that the student leisure time in the 5th semester has relatively longer time, whereas in the 5th semester, the leisure time, which is 3 until 4 hours and above 4 hours, is greater than in the 3rd semester. However, during the 3rd semester, the leisure time chosen is mostly during the breaks with a time of 1 until 3 hours. From this result, most students of SMA Canisius class 21 get 2 until 3 hours of rest per day in the 3rd semester. Meanwhile, in the 5th semester, most students get more than 4 hours rest per day. So, going on, this is the level of tiredness of Canisius High School students class 21 in the 3rd and the 5th semester. And this is based on their own awareness on which level they are feeling. As you can see, there are a total of 4 levels, where level 1 is the lowest level of tiredness and level 4 is the highest level. So, in the 3rd semester, most students chose the level 4 of tiredness, with 33 students selecting that level. Meanwhile, there are drastic change in the 3rd semester, where a total of 22 students chose level 3 of tiredness. If you take a look, it can be interpreted that in the 5th semester, the students felt less tired than in the 3rd semester. The data shows that the students experienced level 4 of tiredness, while in the 5th semester, most students chose level 3 with a number of 22 students. And last but not least, this is the graph that shows the learning time of Canisius High School student class of 21 right in the 3rd and the 5th semesters that experience significant change throughout the semesters. In the 3rd semester, students' learning time for 2 until 3 hours is the most potent one with a total of 29 students. While in the 5th semester, 20 students voted that they studied for only 1 until 2 hours per day. However, the data also shows that the learning time for 3 until 4 hours and 4 hours above is dominated in the 5th semester, with the number of 12 and 6. This is much in contrast to the 3rd semester, where only 4 and 3 students respectively.
In conclusion, distance learning increases students' academic performance. Therefore, study and rest times for students need to be ideal. The curriculum in distance learning should be implemented for day-to-day future learning because it has proved to be effective for students' academic performance.